ready to go.
Okay. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. And for you new people out there, don't forget to subscribe. It's free, and we appreciate it. Anyway, today we're going to play with a Ryobi 3818 chainsaw. Now, this is exactly like my favorite chainsaw that I use personally. I know I've had a lot of big, expensive chainsaws, but for some reason, that little chainsaw just caught me. It just runs like there's no tomorrow. So I picked this one up yesterday. I've got no idea what's wrong with it. I haven't even taken the lid off of it yet, so I figured we'd all start from the beginning. So let's get started. Okay, first thing we'll do is go ahead and pull the lid off. Now we'll take a look inside the cylinder and see what she looks like. Kind of hoping she looks good. Okay, I'm going to guess you. Yep. This is kind of the moment of truth when I work on these. If I look inside the cylinder and she's all scratched up, then we're done. And it's a parts department for some other chainsaw. This one looks really good, so I'm hoping nobody was mean enough to put regular gas in it. Plug looks really dark, and that's a good sign. Usually if the plug looks really dark, then that means it hasn't had any regular gas. And I say that, and I mean usually, because you just don't know. So let me set the camera up here. La la la. Where you at? There you Ah. Okay, while we do this, let me carry you around. Whoops. Let's put you over here and you can watch the camera. There you go. Now what we're looking for is a nice smooth cylinder. Now that looks good. Wow, that looks really good, actually. You got lucky, the piston's most of the way down. If you look, there's a little arrow on the piston. That points at the exhaust port. That means that little dark spot right there is the exhaust port. Let's pull this up a little bit. Whoops. Okay. See, there's the exhaust port. And there's hardly a mark on it. And you see the lines going this way. That's the standard boring lines when they created the cylinder. So we're super happy with this one. This is a good chainsaw. Let's put you away. We're going to go ahead and plug him in, let him charge up for another day. I was using him yesterday on a boat. There you go. Let's take you back around over here. Alrighty then, let's put our plug back in. So the next thing I'll do is check for spark. Now you can do it by just putting the spark plug in and finding something metal to ground the end of the spark plug, and you pull the cord and see if it sparks. Problem you run into on a chainsaw is the bodies are all plastic. Well, every chainsaw made in the last 25 years anyway. So in order to do it, we're going to have to put something in between the spark plug and the lead. And remember, when you do the plug, don't go crazy tight. Okay. There's our little handy dandy spark checker. Now this will flash orange if we've got spark. Make sure we're turned on, and we are. Oh boy, that was tighter than anything. I'm gonna have to put this on the floor to test it. I'll be right back. Okay, she has really good spark and really good compression. Whoops. Let's get you back in place. You know, I haven't put any gas in this thing to see if it'll actually start. When I picked it up, I usually expect very little of them. Okay, looking inside here, you know, you can't see inside the tank. The gas looks kind of bad. There's not much in there. So let's pour it out and then get a look at the filters and see what we've got. Huh. Actually, the gas doesn't look bad at all. Don't know what they're using for a oil, but they've got plenty of it in there. This might be my favorite saw this week. I think I picked a good place to start. Okay, fuel filter looks good. Fuel lines look promising. So let's put some gas in. And you know, the more I look at this thing, the more I like it. And she's priming up the way she's supposed to. And that's nice. Let's go ahead and tighten up the chain and get that done. What do you think? About a 1/2 inch? Or a 13 millimeter? 1/2 inch it is. When you tighten up the chain, you want to loosen this up just enough that the chain will move. I tell you, I am loving this saw. I almost expect her to start with no internal work at all. It's a little bit tight. Let's put her there and tighten her down. And after you tighten the bolts up for this, double check your chain tightness, because on some saws, it'll flex a little bit. You know, the blade will move up or down a little bit when you tighten these. And you don't want your chain to be crazy tight, but you don't want it to start out loose either. Okay, perfect. Looks good. I'm going to put her down on the floor and let's give her a run. Well, we fooled with this thing relentlessly. It's really close to starting, but it doesn't quite want to run. So we're going to go ahead and pull the carburetor, see what we got going on here. There we go. Okay, that should just about make her let go. And there you go. My clutch lever is probably in the way, but that's okay. Now maybe it's okay. Let's have a look. Seems like if I put her right there, she'll come through. There it goes. But this thing's more jigsaw puzzly than most. And there it is. Okay, I was really thinking the rubber boot might be no good right here, but it looks really nice. Now I'm starting to think that this is just a victim of sitting. And the guy that I got it from did tell me that she was pretty unhappy. But they always say that they're pretty unhappy. Sometimes that means the piston's blown up. And other times it doesn't mean much more than bad gas. So I'm thinking we're somewhere in the middle here. I'm not used to changing bits. It seems like one bit usually does the whole saw when you find the right one. I guess this one's 2 bits. There we go. Okay. Let's get our air cleaner out of the way. Our air cleaner's in love with our fuel line. But if we're going this far, the fuel line's probably on its way out anyway. And remember, take lots of pictures. Lots and lots and lots of pictures. Yep, we've got really old gas sitting on this thing. So she's probably been sitting longer than I thought. So we're going to go ahead and drain our new fuel out. Fuel lines actually look really nice. She doesn't need fuel lines. We're going to drain our old fuel out, and we're going to go through this carburetor real quick. And as far as you're concerned, we'll be back in a second to throw a carburetor on. Well, I got our little parts and got our carburetor all cleaned up and rebuilt. So let's see what she does. So we don't need a gasket here because we've got the rubber. So I'm not going to bother with that. And I remember noticing this on one other one. Turn the choke on first, and that carries this a little bit higher and makes it a little bit easier to hook on. When I say a little bit easier, it doesn't make it simple. Almost. Come on, buddy, get in there. And there we go, and there we go, and oh, we're so close. And there we go, we're hooked on. Okay, next thing we're going to do is put our fuel lines back in place. Now, if you took pictures when you took this apart, this is really easy. If you didn't take pictures, you're pretty hosed here. These fuel lines on one like this one in particular just go all over creation. You can see it goes in a little groove here, and you want to make sure you're on this side of the clutch, or I'm sorry, the choke. Now once you've got everything in, before you start taking all the bolts in, hold the carburetor in place and make sure the linkage feels like it's running right. This one does. So we're going to go ahead and get our bolts in. And let's see what we've got going. Now, I usually would recommend that you just simply order a carburetor for something like this, because rebuilding it isn't as easy as it sounds. And that's part of the reason I didn't show rebuilding it in the video, is I don't want to make people think that it's easier than it really is. Because it could be a whole bunch of tiny little things going on. But if you get brave and decide you want to, first thing you want to do is go after the metering diaphragm. That's the black square with the round center. And that's what fails most of the time on these. In this case, I put a new gasket on and a new metering diaphragm, and that should take care of it. Oh, my fuel line hopped off. There we go. You got to get everything back in our place. And there we go. Let's see if we can keep that there and put this bad boy back together. Okay, now that we've got the carburetor all in place and ready to go, let's put the cover back on. Now this cover is more of a Rubik's Cube than most of them are. Some of these are super easy to put on, and some of them will fight you all the way. This is one of those where it's kind of hard to tell where you're hitting things, but you're hitting things all over the place when you're doing it. And you don't want to force it. You always want to go nice and easy. If she's on correctly and you're not bumping into anything, she'll go. She'll click into place. You can see the little tab here in the back. Everything appears to be in line, but we're not quite lined up. Maybe we are. Let's see what we've got. Okay, I guess we are. Just an odd looking cover. Let's get a screw in. Let's get another screw in on the other side. And pay attention on this part. Here we've got a wire that we almost pinched in. Okay, looks good. Looks good. And everything went in nice and tight. I've got quite a bit of faith in this one. So I'm going to go ahead and put the air cleaner back on and put the top back on, since the top just clips on anyway. I gave it a good guess on the adjustments for the carburetor. And a good guess works about 70% of the time. Oh, we're going to need a little bit of gas. Let's see what we got. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, that's about half a tank. That should do it. Okay. Put the gas can back in its proper place. Make sure she's nice and tight. Let's pump her up and take her to the floor and start her. And remember, you can't flood it pumping this. That could flood it. The choke can flood it. If you hold it choked too long and pull it 10 times, you'll flood the engine. Pumping this, all it does is cycle gas through the carburetor. It will not flood the motor. So, let's see what we've got. We're running in tight quarters today because it's freezing cold outside. Oh, I love it. This one came out pretty good. She runs nice and tight, she revs up easy, and you saw her start completely cold. Well, you heard her start completely cold anyway. This was a video of all the steps I go through every single time when I work on one of these chainsaws. It's a little longer than I prefer, but I figured at least once I should show every single step I follow along the way because I do this religiously with every saw. I usually spend about 15 minutes going inside the engine, taking a look, checking the spark plug, and all that whatnot before I even try to start it the first time. Because, if the cylinder's burned up, you don't want it anyway. Well, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time.